Welcome to Sacred Magic. Violet is on a quest to bring sacredness back into our everyday experiences. Anyone can have an extraordinary life when they are able to tap into their sacred magic within. Violet and her guests will be sharing their divine passions, inspirations, and stories of connecting with their sacred magic. We are so happy you have joined us today. Let's get started with your host, the magical creator of Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, Vialet Rayne.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sacred Magic Podcast. I'm your host, Vialet Rayne, and today I'm probably going to butcher her name. Just be sweet with me. La'a, is that how you pronounce it?
It's La'a Leela.
La'a. A beautiful name, but very unusual. She's been receiving and hearing her guides her whole life, but she didn't actually realize that was what she was doing. In 2008, 2019, she had an awakening and began to understand fuller that she was meant to be here doing this work. She is a shamonic direct voice channeler, shaman, and healer. She started voice channeling as a trance channeler, unaware that was even being channeled until listening to a recording to a shamonic direct voice channeler over a relatively short period of time. Now she shares the space and is aware of the conversations. She is here to be a conduit offering the channeled universal knowledge of one. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're so glad that you're here, and we're so glad that you're able to join us. She's traveling all over the world. So if you follow her on Facebook, she's doing all these amazing, wonderful things. So pretty amazing. So talk to us a little bit about your journey. How did you get here, and you know, what got you to this place?
So anyway, my story is probably like a lot of people. I was raised in traditional religion. And in that religion, a lot of the teachings, it felt like they were teaching us that God was outside of ourselves, that source was outside of ourselves. And it never felt quite right. I always felt much more directly connected to source, to God, whatever terminology works for you. And when I became very ill, during that time, my chance of survival was very grim. I was in a lot of pain, and my husband basically had to do complete care for me. He had to bathe me, feed me, just everything. It was not a good time. And in that time, I started to go spend more time directly with source on the other side. I would meditate and pray, and I found myself on the other side a lot. And I realized just how direct our connection was. And at that time, I was basically came to understand that I had a choice. I could either leave this body at this time, or I could continue on my path, but that my path really was much larger than I knew and that I had work to do. And though in my conscious knowledge, I don't remember doing it, I obviously made the choice because I came back. I not only survived, but I'm thriving. It took a bit. And so now I'm here basically to be of service, to help in any way that I can, to help people understand that God is with us directly. He's directly here. And we have our connection to him. And through that, I've started working with my guides as a direct voice channel and a shamonic channel. I'm able to basically hold the space that allows all energies of love and light to come together and work in chorus with one another for the greatest good. And so I have been working very hard to try to come into alignment for my highest integrity and for the highest good of all, and to understand and learn. And now I'm sharing that with others. And that's kind of the down and dirty short of it.
I love that. I love that. But for listeners that are listening that don't understand what channeling is, because I know you and I have talked about this, share with us the different types of channeling and what your channeling is all about so they have a better understanding of what we're talking about when we talk about channeling.
Sure. Well, first thing I want to say is everybody channels, whether they are aware of it or not. Just like for my entire life, I channeled without an awareness that that was happening. And so it could be something as simple. The way that I've come to understanding at this point is we have multiple higher self aspects, and we have connection with guides, and we have those that are surrounded with us that are here to help us in the path that we've chosen to walk. And it is basically that we are opening our hearts and allowing them to help us, allowing ourselves to hear whatever call is meant to be called to help guide us. And that can come in a lot of forms. There is a knowing. There is just, it is inside you and you hear it and you follow it. There are channels who, like, for instance, maybe not maybe, but John Lennon, much of his music was channeled. A lot of artists and musicians, that inspiration, that is coming from source or our guides. That is channeled information. Some movies, books, it comes in a lot of different ways. So I channel write. Channel writing is pretty common, and that is basically you allow the energy to come in and you get to follow the guidance. And it looks like a lot of different things. So it can be in the form of art. It can be writing. Some people smell things. They'll get a smell and they're like, I know that smell. I know that's my loved one. Or they'll taste something. Our body can even talk to us. And so because of some of the health issues I have, there's a lot of food restrictions I have. And I'll just ask my body, come in and tell me if I'm about to drink this. Let me know if it's not going to agree with my body. And I'll literally get a taste in my mouth and I know, ooh, that's something I can't have. So we channel, and it's basically just opening our heart and allowing the information to come in, and being open to the way that it comes, because it comes different for everybody. I mean, we all have the gift, but we all have it differently.
I love that.
If that helped. I hope it did.
No, I think that's perfect because, I talk to students about a lot of these TV shows and movies, these characters and these beings, they're real. Somebody channeled it into their thought process to create this character, this being like Avatar and some of these things, that there's some truth, right? Some connection that has been channeled for us to be open as a collective humanity to receive that information. And we might think it's entertainment, but it actually is knowledge and wisdom beyond that. And we don't always, that's where this comes from. So I love that explanation because I think that's perfect. I always talk about Star Wars and all these. Do we think that doesn't exist? I think there's some truth in all of that.
Yeah, there definitely is some truth to that. I've had some experiences that definitely have shown me the truth in some of those things that I never believed in before, but I do now. And one of the fun parts is I've actually was working with somebody who's working on a new series that's coming up. And if it comes out, it's going to be amazing. If it comes to fruition as it's meant to be. And she had no knowledge that this stuff was true. And when she started talking to me about what she was doing, and I'm like, that is spot on. That is spot on. And she's like, no, really? And I'm like, yes, it is obviously being channeled to her to present to the world to help us to wake up. I believe sometimes the music and the art and the movies that are coming through are literally just ways to help wake people up. So when the truth truly shows up, it doesn't shock us past our ability to handle.
I totally believe that. And Here's something else I believe, okay, which is funny. We've had a lot in the last 5 to 7 years, movies about dragons, movies about us connecting and loving dragons. Dragons are real people. They may not be in our dimension and you may not see them in a physical form, but they're definitely real. And prior to that, they were scary and they were violent and they were blah, 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 blah. And there was lots of fear. Now, all of a sudden, we're coming through with all these dragon movies about how they want to help us and all these personalities, because I believe, like you, it is timing. We're trying to get you open to the fact that these beings are not here to hurt us. They're here to help us, support us, be part of our journey.
For sure. It's funny you should bring up dragons because I actually do channel dragons. And when I just got back from Portugal, while I was in Portugal, one showed himself through a huge mountain, and he kind of stepped forward and showed that he was there watching this mountain, and then he stepped back into the mountain. And so they are there, and they are here to help us, most definitely. And it's just amazing. But they're very multidimensional, and they can pop in and pop out.
They very well can. I have a team of dragons as a warrior. Our warriors get a full team of dragons. So I work with dragon energy and fairy energy and mermaid energy and all these things that we think aren't real. They actually do exist in other dimensions, and they come in and out of our dimensions to support us. So I love all of that because I very much connect. Talk to us a little bit about one, because one is what you channel. What is one? How did you get connected? Talk to us a little bit about this work.
Well, honestly, when I first connected to one, it was, I believe they were the third energy I ever channeled. And it was through I was trans channeling. So what that means is I had no idea what I was channeling. I would feel the energy come in and we would know that we needed to record it. But I had no idea what was happening. And one, the way they explained themselves to me at that point, and my understanding has grown, but in the beginning, for my small mental ability to grasp it, they basically said that they are everything of love and light. And it doesn't matter what that energy is. It could be a fairy, it could be a dragon, it could be a Sasquatch, it could be a star being, it could be an angel, it could be Jesus, anything that is here, Buddha, anything of love and light. And it is the space that allows them to all to come together and work together in a way that allow their vibrations to fuse and become one, because that is what we are working toward. We are working in the shift of evolution right now toward the age of Aquarius, toward oneness, where there is no hierarchy of I'm better, you're worse, you're good, I'm bad. That's moving behind us. And so one is that space that holds everything, and everything comes together and works together, no matter if their frequencies or vibrations are different, if their energetic beings are different, it doesn't matter. They all come and work together. When I asked them how many were in one, they told me that they were beyond our count. And so it's a really big energy. And I said, if I could see you, what would you look like? And they said, if you could see us, our light and our count would be so much that it would encompass this entire planet in pure love and light. And that's pretty expansive. It's pretty darn large. And it's, when I step into their energy, it's a bliss of love that is just beyond my ability to even explain. It just fills you top to bottom, inside out, upside down with love and light, and it's beautiful.
I love that. I love that. And I love that that's the work you do. So do you channel within groups or of one, this one, or do you do individual sessions and bring messages? How do you utilize this in your work?
Well, when I first started, it was strictly one-to-ones, and I still do the one-to-ones. So if somebody wants to book a time slot with me, we book a slot. And very often we call it the voice of one, because one, when it speaks, has a certain voice. And there are times that within the choir of one, a certain energy will step forward kind of as the lead singer. And so the voice does change from time to time, or the energy at that beginning, but it's still one. So I did one-to-ones. And I was finding that I'm now starting that they are working through me as a transmonic channeler. When I channel, you're not just getting the physical, you're hearing message, but you're getting transmissions, activations, healings. They're starting to do a lot of ancestral healings, multidimensional work that's being done below our consciousness. So I still do the one-to-one sessions. I've been being invited to do more and more public events where I am speaking on a stage in front of people. And, well, I say me, it's not me. I get up, I say hello, and then one pops in and takes over. And they actually, because there are so many, when I'm in a public event, they actually have the ability to reach out. It's like a different guide within one reaches out to everybody in the audiences and gives them what they need to hear. So I'm doing public events, which are really fun. A lot of times they'll say, we want to talk on a topic, and they'll come in at these public events and they'll talk on that topic, and then there'll be a Q&A behind it. So you can speak directly and ask questions directly. So the public events are super fun. I also have just, and it's not even on my website yet, so y'all are the first to hear, going to be offering what we call living room channeled chats. Because I move around so much and we're constantly being guided to where we're meant to be, while we're out there, I'll be letting people know, hey, like for instance, right now I'm sitting in Southern California. In a couple of weeks, I'll be in Colorado, then I'll be in Florida. And if you want to open your living room and invite friends that are interested in speaking with one, we will come in and offer a small session, a small private event for your family and friends where you can hear a message and then ask questions. So we work in a variety of ways. And I also offer, with the assistance of one, multidimensional healing, where we are healing not just here on this physical plane, but also past lives, other dimensions, ancestral healings, so that the healings go on a much deeper, more collective level.
Well, you said your last trip gave you some deeper insights to these multi-dimensional healings. So what ahas did you get that are coming through about these healings?
Well, what I got is we're in a time and a place right now where there's going to start to, it's already happening, but it's going to start happening a little bit more, where because we are going through this evolutionary shift where we are working our way out of 3 and into 5, and we're kind of in that cusp of back and forth, any traumas, any ancestral lineages, anything that has been brought forward from past lives and current lives within our mind are going to start coming up. So people who have maybe never had aggression or may possibly start having aggression, but it's not coming from them, it's coming from the past. It's coming from other lines. And we're doing this, it's all going to start coming up so that we can release it and move forward into 5, because it can't go with us. It's got to be healed. And so in these multidimensional healings, what's happening is they're going in and they're starting with you right here in your 3D, what needs to be worked on and what needs to be healed. But then they're also going back across other dimensions and other timelines and through the ancestral lines and going back to the cores and releasing them. It's not something we actually physically understand or cognitively understand, but it's literally that deep so that we can release it so that it doesn't have to go forward with us. And I have
those listening, just to have an understanding, we have multi dimensions. And so a lot of people are still sitting in that third dimension, which means they feel disconnected. There's a lot of ego, all about me. What is it happening to me? The self stuff that we're holding on to. And I believe, just like she's saying, that the people that came at this time came here not only to heal your own stuff in the past, but we came to do ancestral healing that we keep carrying forward so that we can move past this three-dimensional place of fear, a place of it's all about me, place of separation, because in order to move to the fifth dimension, we got to let go of all that stuff because we're raising our vibration. We're coming more into the light so that we can keep moving up. The other thing that I get that's happening is the planet's been healing in the last 3 years to also raise her vibration. And so it is a big push to get us all up into that fifth dimensional space with the planet, with humanity, right? And the more of us that keep pulling up, keeps pulling more people up, keeps pulling more people up, and they're awakening to this stuff that she's talking about, where you could have anger or pain or wounds or all of this that's coming up because the universal energies are saying, hey, you came here to heal. Let's get this job done because we're ready to move on to the next thing. And we got to release all this heaviness. Does that help a little bit? Because I know people listening are like 3 and 5. What are we talking about? And so I like to share with everyone that may not understand that it's just about healing and letting go, that you're not separate. We're all connected. We are all collectively connected. This idea of separation needs to go away, and we need to step into a space that everything we do impacts everyone on this planet, and it's time to step into that place of love and light, Christ consciousness, some people talk about, moving into that place of, I want to help everyone, which also helps me, which also helps the planet, which also helps everything around us. So it's moving into that next phase to open us up to more light, more love, and more peace and harmony and all that stuff. It's time to leave the old wounds behind. They're trying in various ways, not just in this channeling of multi-dimensions. I see it everywhere. Anyone that's doing this work is really doing the same thing in different ways. Is we're trying to move people forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and that's spot on. Very good. I appreciate that. So much has come to my knowledge so quickly. In literally 2.5 years ago, I didn't know what a chakra was. And here I'm like speaking, and sometimes I get a little lost that not everybody is following me because it's come on so quickly. But that's a perfect example. And we are. And Mother Earth Gaia, I mean, she is healing. It takes all of us to heal and move forward. And I definitely work massively with the unity conscious, Christ conscious, whatever, the conscious of all, because that is where we're making the change. And so one of the things that I have found is we want to help everybody. And there's those out there have that empathetic soul, and they want to help everybody, and they want to be of service. And I'm the same way. But for me, what I learned is I had to fix me first. I had to work on me. I had to come into alignment for myself to learn how to heal myself, learn how to understand myself, so that I would then become in overflow that then could go out and help others. And it's, sometimes we want to reach out when we're not in a good balanced place. And so it's really important that we kind of come into that place of our own and going, you know what, my love wins out over everything. love is the strongest vibration there is, and it is the most healing vibration. And when we can step in and step away from judgment, step away from fear, step away from all of that, our love comes up, and that is what will permeate and shift everything.
It's very true. More and more people are awakening and learning. And I know there are some people listening that understand what a chakra is or a dimension, but there are also those that are just awakening and they're like, what's a chakra? What's a dimension? What are you talking about? And so I love to be able to share, chakras are energy centers that we have that filter all of our emotions and feelings. They were given to us to help us navigate. And so we have them in certain places. And so healers really kind of work on chakras to make sure they're activated and they're clear and they're doing what they need to do, because they help us effectively move through our experiences in an easier, more graceful way than, how we do when we're not paying attention, right? And we're just kind of moving. And our fears and our wounds clog them up and get them to stop working and shut them down. And we are always working to open them up so that you stay healthy and that you move through life a little bit more gracefully and with harmony. And so, again, people are awakening. They're coming online. They're trying to figure out what this is about, where they're going. And all of that is in perfect timing. And I'll get lots of people that'll come in and go, I wish I'd have done this 10 years ago. Well, we can't move back the clock. So let's just keep moving forward. It comes in perfect timing. Just trust. They know exactly what they're doing when they're doing it and how it shows up for us. So we just got to trust in that. So share with us a little bit more about some of the stuff that you're offering, your website, how we find you, how we connect with you.
Sure. Well, to start with, like a lot of people, I'm on Facebook, and I'm not sure if we'll have a little place to add the links, but my website is channeling1.com, and my Facebook is channeling1.com. I'm on Instagram with channeling1.com. So pretty much channeling1.com is the link to everything. And I'm going to offer a gift for y'all. Anybody that listens to this podcast that is interested in working with me, reach out through one of those means and say, I found you on Discovering Your Spiritual Gifts podcast, and I will offer you a 20% discount. I don't have a way at the moment to put a code in that works. So for now, just reach out to me and let me know how you found me, and I will offer that discount to you as well.
I love that. I love that. Just tell her, Discover Your Spiritual Gifts or Sacred Magic Podcast. Let her know how you found her, and you can receive that discount. I know I've watched you for the last 6 months. She travels a lot. Like every week, she's somewhere else almost. And I mean, not just the next city over, she's traveling the world. And so she posts her adventures and her pictures and what's going on. So if you join the Facebook, you can have some of that information and really get to follow her journey as she moves across this planet in lots of different ways. And every once in a while, I get to see her in person at the center. She's in town, like actually in Colorado, and not somewhere else. She laughs, but I've been watching her travels. I keep up with where she's going. We're on a plane. We're at the airport. We're doing the train. I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's been quite an adventure. If somebody would have told me 2 years ago this is where my life would be, I would have laughed my head off, because I did not see this coming. And if you're interested in doing an event, or you're interested in hosting a living room channel chat, reach out to me. Tell me where you are, because who knows, I might be in your town, or I might be passing through, and I would love to connect with everyone.
I love that. Well, thank you for taking the time today to join us, to get online as you're traveling. I really appreciate it. And I know I'll see you at some point at the center. We'll get to reconnect in person. I love it. I just live through you. It's like, okay, I'll travel through you as I hold down the fort here in Denver. But I love to see your adventures, and I wish you happy holidays and safe travels.
Thank you. Thank you. And I just want to share from the bottom of my heart, I am so grateful for you asking me to be here and have this conversation with you. And for those of you who are listening, thank you. Thank you for turning up the light. Thank you for being open.
Absolutely. Everyone, thank you for watching. We hope to see you on our next podcast or see you at our center in Littleton, Colorado. Have an amazing week.
Are you seeking an online spiritual education resource? Do you crave to know more about various topics of spirituality? Discover Your Spiritual Gifts Academy offers a wide variety of programs including Crystal Alchemy, Tarot, The Journey of the Fool, Akashic Record Reading Certification, and much more. These online courses allow you to learn on your schedule and at your own pace. You can find out more at www.discoveryourspiritualgifts.academy. Thank you for joining us. To find out more about Vialet, head over to discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. You can also send a personal message to Vialet through email, violet@discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. If you love the show, subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. Until next time, remember, we are meant to have abundant and joyful lives. We hope to see you soon at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts.